Light Bright, the toy that lets you create beautiful pictures with light.
Light bright, making things with light.
Work with colorful pegs that glow with light, light bulb not included. Make people, animals, things, and with refills, Bugs Bunny or Bozo the Clown.
Light bright, making things with light.
You can make lots of pretty pictures with Light Bright from Hasbro.
No matter what you are, my yellow pills. I wanna be with a rock and roll girl. I wanna be with a rock and roll girl. Hey! Undercover, entangled secret lover. Oh, wait till I find the curtain. You knew he wasn't.
Hello and welcome to the Power Pop Show. If you couldn't tell by the title, this is a show about Power Pop. My name is Steve Schnee, and I'm joined today by my regular co-host, John Borack. He knows more about Power Pop than me, and he's written a few good books to prove it, a few great books to prove it, actually. In fact, his name is synonymous with the Power Pop genre. We should never forget, though, that he's also a musician and quite the hoofer in his top hat and tails. Thank you for being here, John.
A hoofer. I've been called a heifer, but never a hoofer. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it.
Now, our friend and co-host Ronnie Barnett could not join us because he went to the dentist today and his teeth are still feeling a little tingly. But we are joined by a very special guest for this episode of the Power Pop Show. When DIY Power Pop was in its infancy in the late 70s, this man was a pioneer in all that was orally delicious. Recording under the name The TOMS, he released the group's self-titled debut in 1979, and history was made. Since then, he's continued to release a series of great pop albums as The TOMS and Horizontal Ladies Club, and he's now working on a brand new TOMS album as we speak. He remains a force to be reckoned with. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Tommy Marolda.
Hey,
Tommy.
hey, thank you. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I must say, I would not be here without John.
Wow.
He reinvented and reignited my whole TOMS situation, my whole career that involves the TOMS. He's responsible for it. So if you don't like the music, call him or email him, whatever. John's the best. I really think he writes, how he writes, and all his support.
That's very kind of you to say, Tom. But without this amazing music that you created, that's what started it all. I mean, like Steve said, started the kind of the DIY power pop thing in the late 70s. A few other people had done it, but not like you did it. And we'll talk about this first album and subsequent releases and a few other things. So it's great to see you.
Excellent seeing you.
Back in the day, I heard about the TOMS because it was being compared to Black Vinyl Shoes by Shoes. The whole DIY ethic, quote unquote, power pop. And I think back then the only people that were kind of doing this was Shoes, just for that album, you with the TOMS, and then maybe our Stevie Moore, recording these lo-fi DIY albums. But the thing is the songs were so good, you didn't even notice it was lo-fi because the songs were hi-fi, I guess. I mean, didn't you record this in just a matter of days?
3 days.
3 days.
Some of the stuff was written, Steve, and some of it kind of bits and pieces here and there. So sat on my back porch. Earth and Wind and Fire guys from Earth, Wind and Fire and the Smithereens had Sunday. Earth, Wind and Fire was for Friday. So I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Monday I put all the songs that I recorded. I think 30, 35 songs that I recorded. No computer.
That's incredible. Well, I know that some of the songs, I'm going through this stack of glorious popness here, and I'm looking for something because on the Future Man label, you released an album called 1979, and
Yes.
and these were leftovers from the sessions that didn't make
That's right.
the album.
Yep.
Yeah, so Future Man Records released this on CD.
That's right.
Another great collection of songs.
Thank you.
Now, did you put this out yourself on vinyl, or did somebody
Yes.
else do it? Okay.
No, I put it out myself. There was a pressing plant in Nashville. They did everything, and as you can see by my artistic creativity, for the cover, I think I'm half Italian, so I ate a lot of Italian places, pizza, and I looked at the tablecloth. I said, "Oh, that might make a nice cover for the album." So
Making me hungry right now, Tom.
there you go. So it was simple. Yes, I did press them up myself. And somebody up in New Jersey college radio started playing it, and a bunch of other stations started playing it. So I was also delivering them in my car to the different record stores in New Hope,
Wow.
Pennsylvania, then Bomp Records out in California. Sue, I think, is still doing
Yes.
Bomp.
Yeah.
And she had the Plimsolls, and they contacted me, and they were buying boxes at a time.
Wow.
25 in a box. I was mailing out thousands to them. They were doing a great job. Then Trouser Press did an article,
Hmm.
and then it just exploded.
I think that's where I first heard about the Toms
Me too.
was in that Trouser Press article.
Oh, how about that?
And I think it also compared you, aside from Shoes, also compared you to Badfinger. And
Yes.
as someone who was sort of just getting into the power pop genre at the time, and who had just discovered Shoes and fell in love with their music, I'm thinking, boy, Shoes and Badfinger, you can't get much better than that. But I was a little bit wary. I'm thinking, how can anything live up, to that comparison? But then when I heard the record, 12 songs, just song after song after song. I'm going to come off like a total fanboy here, Tom, but
Uh-oh, it's
it
okay.
really is one of my favorite records of all
Thank you.
time. It's
Thank you.
glorious.
Thank you so much.
It's. I mean, I agree with John there because now I didn't hear the album right away because I was 15 going on 16 when this came out, and I always thought that independent albums they sounded like that guy at a swap meet or a boot sale or whatever you would call it in whatever part of the country or the world you are
Right.
that played like three or four instruments and they put out their own album and it was horrible pressing. Now of course I'd love to go back and buy all those now, but back then when that's what I thought independent records was. It wasn't until I heard a group called The Last and an album called LA Explosion that I discovered that independent music didn't mean that stinky guy at the swap meet. It
No.
meant the stinky guy in a studio or his house making great music. And I don't think that I found the album for like 2 years. So I
Yeah,
didn't really hear it till
now
like
that I
81.
now that I think of it, I didn't see it first in Trouser Press. I saw that later, but I remember somehow reading something about the album and then seeing your address on the back of the album, your mailing address.
Right.
I think was on the back of the album. Was it Mercerville, New Jersey, if I
Mercerville,
remember
New
correctly?
Jersey. Yep. Black Sheep
And
Records.
yeah, Black Sheep Records. And I thought, and I think this was probably the mid '80s actually. And I remember thinking, I'm going to write to this guy. What are the odds of him being there? Probably slim to none, but I'm going to send him a postcard. And that's what I did. And that's how we connected. And which is just, that would never happen these days. But yeah, I just recalled that. I had forgotten about it. My memory is not quite what it used to be.
But you can bang them skins without forgetting.
Now, for anybody who hasn't heard this, it's a wonderful. I don't even want to call it lo-fi DIY, but it's you're pretty much you played everything, right?
Yes.
Yes, and it's one of those albums. I could even throw in Todd Rundgren in there somewhere because like some of the
Yeah.
later albums have that Todd Rundgren feel to it. Um,
Emmett Rhodes, maybe?
yeah, Emmett Rhodes. It's just great, wonderful, jangly power pop. Now the CDs are long out of print. Not Lame originally, I think, put out the single disc version of it.
This one
Yep.
Yes, and
back. Yeah.
yeah, and then what happened was I remember Bruce wanted to put out a 2 CD version, and then added Greatest Misses, which is you can get that digitally off of your Bandcamp page.
Yes.
And those are great, more great songs. They're not from these sessions, but they're showcasing that, hey, this guy was still making great music. This isn't the only thing he put out. And I'd like to remind people of that. Shoes didn't stop making albums after Present Tense. Tommy Marolda didn't stop making albums after the Toms, and the Beatles didn't stop making the records after Abbey Road. Oh yeah, they did. Never mind.
Yeah, that's right.
But before we talk more about this music, what is it that set you off? What is it that inspired you to become a musician? Was it like a series of events, or was it like one singular moment?
Good question. I had been playing in bands and just got a little tired of playing other people's music. And I had written a couple of songs. I said to the band, "You want to learn these songs?" They, no, not really. So I says, okay. So I just quit the band, went home, started learning how to play everything else. I knew how to play guitar. I learned piano, bass, drums, picked up all the instruments. And then I had started a family at the time, and I had twin girls and a son. And I built a recording studio in the basement of my home. And that's when I really said, this is what I want to do. And when I have downtime, I'm going to record my own music. I had everybody come down there that was, at the time, nobody. I had the Bon Jovi boys. I had Frank Stallone he had a band called Valentine that got picked up on RC, I think. I had the Smithereens. We had fun with them. I had guys from Earth, Wind, and Fire, and a bunch of other independent bands, Smart Remarks, a group called Why Not, and it was just a natural thing for me to do. And I think I got inspired just by listening to all the music that I liked, that at the time, 1979, if you recall, it was disco, period. Mm-hmm. There was no, finally I heard XTC and I think Drums and Wires. Mm-hmm. I heard Nigel, and I go, oh, this is the kind of music I want to make. 2020, Shoes, like you say, Badfinger and everything. That's the type of music that was exciting me. And so I just sat down and I said, hey, I got the opportunity to record. I might as well keep writing. I enjoy it. Take off your outer disguise and let's be friends again. Let go, let my broken time. Oh no, you must have crossed my mind a million times. A perfect image of you wanders there. I wanna be a teen again.
could search their whole life. We're not defeated. We're not defeated lest we quit. Set ourselves adrift. Just like a shadow, it won't be there when the sun goes down. But I will stay. It's the best day of our life, but that could change tomorrow. 'Cause we have to face reality. We're not going very far. You shot me out of your cannon after I gave you the key to my heart. You shot me out of your cannon. When can I expect to play my part? I wanna go back where it all began. Let's go back now. Make a couple of changes, do it all again. There's a place we can hide out. Grab your things and let's go now.
Now, speaking of Frank Stallone, I want to bring this up because I seem to remember. Didn't
By the
Frank
way, viewers,
record-
this show is far from over. But go ahead.
Hey,
Oh, hello.
hey, we're all staying
Um,
alive on that one.
Didn't Frank record some songs from the Tom's
Whole
album?
the whole
The whole
album,
record.
John. And he started saying they were his, and I'm going, no, not Frank. We were friends. We played in bands together. We were both on the Staying Alive soundtrack talking about doing disco music. Then I get a Grammy nomination and for songwriter and producer for doing Staying Alive. So it was like, are you kidding me, Frank?
Now, did that ever come out? Was that ever officially
Yeah.
released?
Yeah, he did release it, and I told him you got to pull him in.
Another undercover, entangled secret lover, awaits a final curtain. You know he wasn't certain.
My publisher does not like this, and at the time, my manager was Steve Leeds, who was taking care of Cyndi Lauper and Joan Jett, and I think he ran an A&R section. He brought me up to Lenny Pizzi at Epic Records, wanted to sign the Toms, that album. And I'm looking on the wall, Boston. Well, yeah, everybody turned them down except Lenny Pizzi, and they signed Boston. And Boston redid most of the album that Tom Schultz had done in his basement. And Tom wasn't very happy about that. He wanted the original. And when they wanted to sign me, and they found out that I was a one-man band, they says, well, we're going to have Neil Kernan produce the album. I said, what album? I says, it's done. No, we're going to have you re-record it and put a band together. I whispered in my manager's ear, can we go now? That was the end of that. And I'll tell you, I probably did the best thing because I still sell tons of those albums every year. Who knows what would have happened if I went with Epic Records and they redid the record, because I felt it was magical.
Well, you'd probably
it really does sort of have that, lightning striking, sort of feel to it. Like, wow, especially since it was recorded in just a couple of days.
Yeah,
that once in a lifetime sort of magical feel. You can kind of feel that while listening to this.
Yeah, I did everything one take except for the drums, John. Drums. I'm not a drummer, and I had my youngest daughter would be running the studio because I couldn't keep going back and forth. I said, no, let's try that again. And I think I only had 8 tracks.
Wow.
Now that I think about it. And I was bouncing vocals, bouncing guitar. So it does have an analog feel. John would know, more about that than myself. Yeah, but that was fun. But the album did get me signed with Famous Music, which got me to California to do movie songs songs for movies.
Now, why did you not release the second album, Tomfoolery, under the name of the Toms?
Because it was a different style music, I thought.
It was.
It was a little bit different. It had a different feel for it for me, and people were saying, "Oh, that doesn't sound like the Toms." So I didn't put the Toms on there.
Why did you not sort of do that same type of feel as from the first album?
I probably heard something. I think it was City Boy. There's a group called City Boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought they were just fantastic. I think between City Boy and the guy who did Strokes,
Billy Squier.
Billy Squier.
Billy Squier. When I heard the two of those things, I says, "Oh, I got to do something like that."
I like the feel of, when you go through the Tom's catalog, you manage to kind of maintain that Tom's core, but
Right.
you're adding, you'll add maybe some electronic beats,
Mhm.
or maybe something's going to sound a little bit more A&R. Like Yawning for Pleasure, I think, is more of an A&R or AOR record.
Yeah, that Billboard featured that album.
Oh,
I
did
can't-
they?
Yeah, they actually did a thing in it. And I'm like, what in the world? How did that happen?
Well, it's funny because this was reissued by a label called Melodic Rock Records, which
Oh.
is a label that does
Right.
pretty much strictly melodic rock, AOR type stuff. You're more than likely gonna see a band that sounds like Bon Jovi, who you mentioned a little while ago, than you are gonna see anybody remotely sounding like the Toms. But I think this is more Toms than it is AOR.
About that.
But I think it works as an album. I think all of these work as an album.
Thank you.
Now we know, John just mentioned the Tomfoolery album. So the band name on that is Tomfoolery, although it's actually the Toms.
That's me.
Right. And it's interesting because it's that album that features the song I Want to Be a Teen Again, which is the title of a brand new 3 CD box set on Cherry Red that we have discussed on the Power Pop show previously, that I think John is pulling out. He's going to show. So the title is from a Tom song. Yeah, from Tomfoolery. There was a cassette only release that came out in between those. We discussed earlier that, possibility of that coming out again, but, being released, you can get it digitally. Now, what I want to tell people, if you go to the Tom's Bandcamp, we're talking about the classic debut album. I guess maybe we can call it the Pizza album. That is an album. You still have, it was repressed on vinyl, so you can get it from the merch section on your Bandcamp page. Correct? At least it was there last time I looked.
Yeah. Some of the vinyl is still available. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the CDs are hard to get, but you know how vinyl's popular now.
No.
People still 15 years after it started making this comeback, there are still people telling me, "Hey, did you hear vinyl's making a comeback?" It's like, it's like, yeah, maybe 10 years ago, but it's absolutely stellar. And then there's the Horizontal Ladies Club.
Uh-oh.
No, it's just great stuff. This is great stuff. This, like, how do you decide, I'm going to make this a Tom's album, or I'm going to make this a Horizontal Ladies Club album? Because there's also this Horizontal Ladies Club album.
Right.
How did you decide, well, I'm not going to release that as a Tom's album?
Again, sound-wise, the first Tom's album had not one keyboard on it. No synths, no piano, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard, like I said, City Boy and Billy Squier, I think I wanted to add keyboards. So that mainly, if I can tell that it's starting to sound a little electronic or a little away from the natural guitar band sound.
Mhm.
And I put the horizontal moniker on it.
Right, right.
I think Virgin Records picked that one up too.
Yes. Yeah, but then you put out the second one
I
independently,
put
right?
out the second one myself, yes.
Yes, which is
In fact, not to interrupt you, off the one with the weird cover that cost us a lot of money. Yes, that one. There's a song on there called "God Is a Girl," and I had it
Mhm.
remixed. That whole album was mixed by Peter Kelsey, who did Elton John's "Yellow Brick Road."
Wow.
Yeah, so we did a remix of "God Is a Girl," and it's going to appear on my new album. And
Oh,
Richie Sambora from
fantastic.
Bon Jovi is doing the background vocals. He's an honorary member of the Toms now, has been for many years,
Yeah,
and
he's appeared on several records.
several times. And I got Abe Laborialis, Paul McCartney's drummer. So no offense, John, I got to get you on something too. I
I'd
hope
love to.
You would do it.
Oh, of
Oh,
course I.
man.
Are you kidding me? Of
Oh God.
course. No,
Oh,
Abe is amazing. He's a great drummer.
Abe is amazing. He played on 2 tracks that's on the Apple Station album.
Hmm.
Um, a song called "We Ain't Giving Up," I think. And Rich, yep, yep. So that's some useless information
Talking about one of your earlier releases, I think Steve mentioned it earlier, the Four Letter Words cassette.
Hmm.
there. Yes,
The title track of that is one of my favorite Tom songs ever. It has some beautiful vocals on it.
thank
This,
you.
I mean, very Tom's like, but very sort of different, but still a very cool, pure pop sound. Was that kind of trying to sound like earlier Tom's records, or how did you approach that one?
I think that the inspiration again was Billy Squire meets Hall and Oates. Yeah, it took me a long time to get a drummer to come in and play on that, and get that drum sound that they got at the power station in New York.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
no, it's a great song. Great song.
Thank you very much, John.
a thing that I really like about your songwriting is, you have a certain style, and you also have this unique sound. Like I said before, even if it has electronic beats or it's more atmospheric or something, it's still at the core, it's the toms. But there's also songs, and of course, now they're not coming to mind, but they're not written in the same formula as Let's Be Friends Again or
Exactly. Yes.
you do tend to write differently to where sometimes the biggest hook is super short and it appears 3 or 4 or 5 times throughout the song, but it's not like this big jangly chorus.
Yes.
And that's what I love about those Tom's records. And I think a lot of people, what I've noticed about the power pop kids, and I'm referring to fans, is they like or they love what they love, and they don't want to stray up,
No,
out of that little box.
that's right.
And I love a good song.
I've
So,
gotten I've gotten hate mail.
oh my goodness.
I was dating. Well, I'm still dating her. We've been together for 12 years. She's a pharmacist.
Hmm.
I wrote, "Love your
And she
pharmacist."
was sending you hate mail?
No, and I wrote it, and it was kind of a rap thing, Steve, that I
Hmm.
did, and but he was sending me, "What happened to you? Why would you ever try to do a rap?" So I got to be careful.
Well, speaking of that, you've worked with a lot of interesting people that are far outside the power pop
Yeah,
realm. Tell us about some of those folks you've worked with.
absolutely. In Philadelphia, I worked at the oh boy. Anyway, it was Corrupt from the Dog Pound,
Hmm.
Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and that whole crew. I worked with them for about 6 or 7 months, writing all their. I would bring in beats, and they were like, "Oh my God, who is this guy making all these rap beats?" And got a couple tracks out there. They even let me appear in some of their videos as the Italian gangster in Philadelphia. Um, So that was an interesting period, but I enjoyed it because, they were sampling all kinds of things that we grew up with.
Mhm.
Look at Travis Scott. He took Gentle Giant, the whole beginning of one of their songs, and made a big hit out of it.
Mhm.
I forgot what the name of it is. So I enjoyed working on some rap music, and I enjoyed doing the disco stuff that I did. But my heart and everything and soul is in that power pop genre period.
Now, obviously, you're a Beatles fan. One of the first things I noticed about the first Tom's record,
That was
there's a
you,
great there's a great song on there called
the bear.
"The
That was
Bear,"
you. That was
and
you.
yeah, and it's so reminiscent of "Any Time at All," which is one of my favorite Beatles songs. Was that intentional? Was it an homage to the Beatles?
You freaked me out, first of all, when you called me out on that, because what I wanted to do, it was an experiment, John. I said, let me see if I can play the drums to this. So I played, I put the thing on, and I studied the beat and everything. And of course, there was no quantizing or keeping it on meter, and I got pretty close. So I took that drum track, which was a mono drum track, mixing the whatever mics, however mics I had, and I said, let me write a song around it. And I think I basically took their chords and somehow rearranged some of the melody and came up with the bear. The bear, the bear. And you called me on, I go, I can't believe somebody actually recognized this.
It wasn't really so much calling you out as boy, this is obviously one of his influences.
Yes, they were my
And I mean, some bands have made a whole career out of sounding like the Beatles. You
absolutely.
did it on that one song, and it was very subtle, honestly, but it was really cool.
Okay, thanks, John.
You
That
know,
memory will never leave me.
you know, there's other things like Not Lame also put out another album. I think right after he put out, or at the same time that he reissued the first album. But then there's other great albums like
I like that.
Sun, and
Sun.
then Apple Station,
It's one of my favorites.
Life Raft,
Not bad.
Complicated,
So.
and I love Stereo.
Stereo's not bad.
Yeah.
Too much Beach Boy influence.
Oh, you
Well-
can never have too much Beach Boy in it.
That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly. Come on, what are you talking about,
I
Tom?
don't know.
But your catalog, yes, a lot of people are going to sort of look at this and go, "God, I didn't know he had that many albums, but I'm going to stick with the first one."
Yeah.
Is that frustrating?
No,
No?
not really. I have a lot of fans around the world.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to be able to secure making a living, and that's all I care about. I never wanted to tour. I just wanted to be a family man, which I am, and write my music.
Was there ever any live performances by the Toms?
Actually, we did a few. Yes, we did a few.
You
And-
did.
Yeah, we did, but we didn't call it the Toms, but we were doing Tom. I think we did. You Must Have Crossed My Mind, and Let's Be Friends Again, and I did the wrong thing to the record. So, but we did maybe 5 or 6 songs inside of a set that we were playing at the Caves at Staten Island, and
Wow.
then we played a couple. I think we did City Gardens in Trenton, New Jersey. That's where I saw XTC. Believe it or not, John, there was about 10 people in the audience.
Wow.
And Ricky Nelson, a month later, he gets in the airplane crash. So there were some live things. Horizontal also played a couple live gigs in LA.
Wow.
But other
Hey-
than that, that was it.
So you saw Ricky Nelson in 85?
In 85, yes.
One of
it.
my best friends was the drummer.
Wow. What, he wasn't on the plane, was he?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So
That's
of course,
a very sad
like
story.
yeah, like everybody else, everybody found out about it on the news.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so it's like all of a sudden we're just getting phone calls going, "Hey, did you hear that Ricky died?" And it's like, uh-oh, you know. But I saw XTC in during the Black Sea tour. So that was at the Hollywood Palladium, and that must have been 81.
Oh,
So incredible live band. And I can see how they can inspire you because,
oh yeah, oh, absolutely. Andy
you know,
Parker, what a talent.
yeah.
He was special. Another group that influenced me, believe it or not, was a group called an instrumental band called the Ventures,
Hmm.
and they were my heroes. I'm sure John knows these guys. And when I went out to LA and was signed to Famous Music, the head guy there, Bob Feed, head of Famous Music, which became uh, Sony ATV now, so they have my catalog
Hmm.
alongside the Beatles and Michael Jackson, who owns the whole thing.
Hmm.
Uh, I became very close friends with the Ventures. They wanted me to write, they were writing songs. They wanted me to write the lyrics. And we did write some songs. I never recorded them. I'm going to find them. They're all dead now, these guys.
Yeah.
They all died, but I think their children are Mel Taylor had a son and took over the drums. But that was a very, very influential, inspirational band for many, many guitar players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, still, you're going to hear "Walk, Don't Run," and here in California,
Oh,
as you probably know,
Pipeline.
there's a lot of surf instrumental
Yep.
bands, and also a lot of. See, I think the problem is with the Ventures. Everyone calls them a surf band, but they're not a surf
Yes.
band.
No, they're not.
They're a rock instrumental band. Very much like, have you heard the modern band Los Straitjackets?
No. Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, and they wear those Mexican wrestling masks. I forgot what they're called. John has a bunch of those. John, what are they called?
Mexican wrestling mask. I don't know what they're called. I've seen them a couple of times when they've backed Nick Lowe
Yeah.
in concert, and they're great. Lucha Libre, I believe, is what they're called.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just noticed you got a Tom shirt on. Thank you, John.
Of course, yeah, I have
Oh,
to represent here, and and a Yankee cap.
Yankee cap. Boy, absolutely. I saw your photos there, right?
Yep.
I didn't have a Tom shirt, so I wore the next best thing, a Neil Diamond shirt.
There you go. That's okay. Another great songwriter.
Oh, good
Books
Lord.
to death. John,
Yes.
um, I had a Yankee come down to my studio and he was fooling around with one of the background singers that was singing for guys from Earth, Wind, and Fire. And the ball player's name was he was African American. He's African American. His father was a famous player, and he was junior. Some blah blah junior.
Hmm.
I'll think of the name. But
Frank Sinatra Jr.?
no.
Well, it's not Ken Griffey because he never
Yes,
played for
yes,
the Yankees.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, it was Ken Griffey. Well, he never played for
Yes.
the Yankees, but
Awesome.
wow.
Yeah, he was a Yankee. Yep, I got pictures with him, and he was down there cheating on, and I won't go any further about that.
Wow.
But that's my Yankee story.
This has suddenly turned into a tabloid show.
I think it has. So I got stories, Stallones and Samboras, and
Oh, I bet.
Richie just broke his hand. So I don't know how, but anyway, he's rehabbing. And there's it was in the news that he's getting back with John, but it's not happening. Now he's working
Uh,
on another solo album. And I wrote most of his solo albums.
oh, did you?
Yeah. First album, I got 7 songs on it and a house.
Now, before we start winding things down, I want to let people know that are watching this is, like I said, you have a Bandcamp page. I will put the link in the description box.
Fantastic.
Almost everything is available there digitally. There are titles on CD, there are titles on vinyl.
Yes.
But there are 2 albums that are digital only, or 2 later albums. One from 2023 called Sunday Night Fever. Another one called Rock, Paper, Scissors. Both of those are fantastic. I think that they continue the trend that Stereo from 2022, just a bunch of just great hooks. But you are working on a new album.
Yes.
And what can you tell us about that?
It's called Sound Bites. And I think it follows the trend of the last four
Okay.
lists of albums you just mentioned.
Okay. And will Frank Stallone be singing lead on the entire album?
Hell no. I
Do
love
you
Frank.
still have those? Do you still have those Stallone singing the TOMS tracks?
I think I burned them.
I would love to hear those.
I would too.
love to hear.
You know what? I'm still friends with Frank. We fight like brothers, like he fights with his own brother. They put me in a movie, a documentary about Frank called Frank Stallone, that is. And I speak at the end about Frank. And they cut most of it out because I laid into it. We used to fight. We would physically fight in the studio because we were both very. The way we did things was he wanted one way, I wanted my way, and anyway. But I'll try to find those tracks, John.
Well,
and Steve.
if I had written the songs on the TOMS album, and Frank Stallone tried to sing them, I'd probably beat the crap out of him too. So I don't blame you.
That's right.
It's sad that Ronnie's not here because Ronnie actually knows Frank Stallone. Frank Stallone would, because when Ronnie was living in LA, he used to work at a record shop, and Frank Stallone used to come in. So he knew Frank Stallone. So, I'm sure that he would have just been absorbed in this. So I'll tell him we talked about Frank Stallone, and his teeth will still be tingling, but he's going to feel a little bit sad.
The band was called Valentine. He had.
Oh, Valentine. That right there tells me there's got to be somebody with one of those berets that's sort of leaning, and somebody has a mustache, and somebody has like the striped shirt with the cut off arms. That just that name alone kind of says that, But Mr. Marolda, Tommy Marolda,
yes, sir.
The man who has played an integral part in the power pop scene, whether he realizes it or not, he still continues to put out great albums. And as everybody could see, he is a gentleman and a scholar, as my dad used to say. And it has been a pure pleasure and honor to be speaking with you. When is the new album due, roughly?
Probably 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Coming up.
And
I don't want, I know we're wrapping things up, but I didn't want to let this end without bringing up something that Steve told me about, a song.
Oh, that's right.
Camp, a song by a band called the Lash Outs out of Dallas, Texas, 2011.
Tommy Marolda, how did you
a
do
song
it?
called Tommy Marolda. What a great song. How did you find out about that? And wow, what an honor. It was really cool.
They wrote me on Facebook, and they said, we wrote a song called Tommy Marolda. I'm like, oh, here we go. And they sent it to me, and I said, well, it's pretty cool, punk sounding, great recording. And how did you do it? Tommy Marolda.
They're obviously fans because they talked about listen to songs
Everything.
1 through 12. How did you do it, Tommy Marolda? It's really cool.
Crazy.
I would like to thank Tommy Marolda for spending time with me and John here on the Power Pop Show. It has been a complete honor because if this is the only album he recorded, then he would still be considered an icon and a power pop legend. But he's got all these and so much more. He's worked with so many artists, as we've discussed here. Please definitely check him out. Thank you, Tommy, for spending time with us. Thank you, John. And thank you, everybody, for watching the Power Pop Show. And we'll see you next time.
Honored.